he likes.
Again, I want to go quickly to that steering wheel, the interior of that Ferrari we looked into earlier. Some people who were like making reviews of this car were mentioning, so the blinkers, you see the left and right, where they're like still physical, you can but the other ones, which are like for navigations or UI buttons, they're mostly haptical touch buttons. And most of the reviewers didn't like it as much. So at least this one has like a switch for the driving mode, so the red one on the steering wheel. But already on the steering wheel, you can see there's no necessity to make it a touch button.
I think like for me, it probably be personal like preference on all these things. It looks fine when the car is on, when you switch in different model, it's so colorful and it actually gives you the feedback. But when it's switched off and you're sitting there, it just feels so fake and plastic with all this like electrical. I mean, it will feel different if that's real like metals and things you can touch, you can still feel. But this is just like, yeah.
Yes, you're right. And one of the things I think we looked into earlier, let's have a quick also look at the Rimac Rivera. I mentioned these mods they're using. Why I specifically mention it, it goes for all cars, but like for the example, the Tesla Model 3, it's a fast car because it's an EV, it has a lot of instant torque, so you can do accelerate a lot. But it's still like more of a medium-sized car, and you have maybe your friends or family with you other than the super sports car. Still, while riding, you don't want to figure that much on the touchscreen, somewhere in the middle of this in-vehicle infotainment system. Specifically, if you're, as you're mentioning, focusing on riding the car in these supercars, and we were like coming from the other example here, from the steering wheel of the Ferrari here. While driving this Ferrari, you definitely don't want to have touchscreen buttons and look where you want to just feel that knot, that thing, that. So I think the Rimac Nevera, they made an interesting job coming up with these knots there, right?
They're taking a right approach. They're thinking this whole experience of driving and controlling everything else in a very holistic way that they don't, like for example, the example I brought with Tesla with this glove box opening, I feel like they're really being lazy of thinking about what actually the customer would like to have.
From their perspective, is something which cannot be, they can move it around because they can change the UI.
Yeah, that's how their system is easiest to build, which is basically for other traditional cars is the other direction, but they're both directions lazy or just stay in their comfort zone without really doing the right approach of thinking what actually would make sense.
Exactly.